Friends, I hope you are well. Hello, the market is running for the third consecutive day here on top of quarterlies, some good news, middle ground news, everything that's going on. It's a wild time out here right now in this market, and it's happening essentially like I thought it would happen. The market is moving off quarterlies, off Q1s here, and a lot of these Q1s that are coming out, some of them are really good. Next week is really the ones that I'm waiting for, and the week after that. But let's get into it. Hey, how you doing? I hope everyone is well. So let's talk about Palantir. Let's talk about Palantir real quick. Palantir, there's not a whole lot to, go against a Palantir right now. I think that's the number one thing that you have to just admit. It's really hard to bet against Palantir at this particular time. The stock right now has, just since April 4th, 2 weeks ago, essentially, you could have bought this stock for $74 and some change, okay? At its lowest at that one point, okay? Now the stock is flushed over $100, looking for 110. It's going to find it, more than likely. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But, still, Palantir just 2 months ago at this point, back in February, we were at, almost $130, okay? So now, what does that tell us? Well, it tells us, that people, they're not scared to buy Palantir at $130, okay? So they're definitely not scared to buy it at $110, which we're very close to achieving at this point. The things that are that's happening right now with Palantir, if you're new to, what's going on with Palantir, maybe you're just finding out about Palantir, maybe you're a new investor in Palantir. Well, Palantir is in the situation where it's been achieving maximum growth on deals, quarterlies. It keeps, we went from 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, percent ranges on top of each quarterly to where now we're thinking, okay, we're well in the 40s. Are we going to be in the 50 percentile range on each quarterly at this point? Maybe more. Palantir just locked up this NATO deal here just days ago. The ink is still wet on the paper here. And then we have the quarterlies coming out here. We have Q1s coming out here, and people are excited, and they should be. Palantir is a very exciting opportunity right now for investors. It is going to be a stock that's going to change people's lives more than it already has at this point. We could definitely be talking about Palantir having a stock split in the future if it continues to on the trajectory of where it's at right now. I don't know why people want to argue about that. People want to argue about good things and make it into something bad. Sometimes things are just good. Sometimes things just do the right thing, and sometimes you're just a part of something good. You made a good decision, and Palantir is one of those situations right now. So even Monday, I was like, I was literally saying Monday, I was going, Palantir at $90 right now, this might be cheap. And it looks like $90 it was cheap. That's almost $20 ago at this point. So now we're at a situation where Palantir could continue just to knock down these numbers, continue to build a staircase. Could Palantir buy quarterlies? And we've still got some time. We've got a chunk of time here until we see these Q1s come out for Palantir. Can Palantir go past 130? The way the market's moving right now, that could happen. There's still, the only thing that's really happened with this tariff situation is Trump came out and said, hey, we're not going to be as strict. The tariffs aren't going to be that big. We're still going to have tariffs. They're going to pay up. China just came out last night and said, we have not talked to the United States. There is no set deals at this point. So, we're getting this back and forth situation. But investors right now, I think most of us would agree with each other where we say the market's just in la-la land right now, where, we're going, okay, tariffs, we know they've been pushed back till July. The China situation, Trump came out and said, hey, they're not going to be that bad. We don't know how bad, he could still come out and say they're going to be, what's high to Trump? What's low to Trump? We don't know at this point. So, the market is reacting to that, where it's going, it's only reacting to the broad statement he made where he said they're not going to be as high as what they are right now, but we're still going to have tariffs on them. Okay. So he could say something tomorrow, he could say something next week where he comes out and says, actually, it's going to be X. And the market may go, whoa, we don't like that. So that's why I'm saying that the market is in this very fragile place right now, very fragile place, okay? And this is a cutthroat market right now where, you cannot be naive in the sense of like, man, the market's going to get away from me. I got to buy. Whoa, buy low, sell high, build on top of positions right now until we get these quarterlies done with and see where the dust settles here. And obviously everyone has their different game plan of what they're doing right now. Palantir is obviously climbing. There's not enough food on the dinner table right now, and it's getting ate up fast as it lays down. This is why the stock is running so hot right now, and it could continue well into these Q1s coming out. So with these Q1s, obviously these could be the $1 billion quarterlies for Palantir, 100%. And kind of what I'm seeing here, the leapfrog off Q1 into Q2, and obviously we're a ways away from Q2, and we haven't even had Q1 at this point. What do we know? Following some evidence, the breadcrumbs of what we've seen in the past few months with what we can expect with these Q1s that are coming out here with Palantir, we know that they should be heavy. We know that they should be really good, okay? We know that they potentially will be $1 billion, if not flushing over $1 billion. Potentially. We're hoping, okay? Now, with Palantir locking in this NATO deal that it just got, this huge deal, plus it's still been getting deals, this kind of tells us that Q2 at this point is going to be probably obviously bigger than Q1. It's starting to look like it's a guaranteed situation at this point. So Palantir could be in the situation where we could get into a situation where it doesn't go below $100 again. This is why Dan Ives has been saying, hey, I do believe that Palantir is headed into $1 trillion market cap. I believe that Palantir is on the same trajectory as, Oracle, with movement in stock price, with how they are financially. Now, obviously, Palantir's got a lot. They've got a lot of room to make up because Oracle making crazy money, but Palantir doing for a stock that 24 months ago was at $7, $10 on a good day. Look where it's at right now. But it has proof. There's proof in the pudding. It's been getting deal after deal after deal, huge deals. And it still is. It still is, and it's gonna be. It's telling us that if Q1 and Q2 here are just radically high, radically different from what we've seen, it's pretty much going to tell us the rest of the year is going to be very good. It's going to be very good because of just these enormous deals that Palantir is still getting, on top of enormous deals that we were getting last year, just a few months ago, and now. Okay, it hasn't stopped. I mean, it's an overflowing cup at this point. So friends, I would be excited about what's coming. 110 could be cheap at this point with what Palantir is going to be delivering here. And I think we should get this if they blow over $1 billion here in this quarterly, that's going to be huge. And it's going to shut a lot of bears up. That's the thing. There's still people betting against Palantir, and I get it. There's people that like to play the option on the market, stocks, and bet against them. I get it. There's a lot of money in it. I get it. But Palantir is a very dangerous situation where, from what we've gathered evidence-wise, it's hard to believe that they're not going to knock this next quarterly out of the park. We have not seen any signs of them losing deals, contracts ending. It's been quite the opposite. And, just touching on Big Bear, I talked so much about Big Bear last night. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk about Big Bear, but look at this. Big Bear's looking for $3 again. It's running with the big boys. It's running with the AI stocks. It's looking for $3 right now. I mean, man, if you would have bought Big Bear here just, days ago at this point, man, you have made a nice run. What a nice run you have made on Big Bear here. Everyone's in different positions right now with Big Bear. I totally understand. I think people that got themselves caught in a high position with Big Bear probably been trying to buy themselves down out of it. And you've made up some ground today. If not, people that took profit on Big Bear not long ago, popped back in at this level, because I know a lot of people did, see people that did. You're in a great run. I'm very curious to see if the market can continue this run tomorrow for the fourth straight day. It's very interesting, but I think this is going to be the tail of the tape here for the market for the next 2 to 3 weeks as we continue to see quarterlies here. We've had quarterlies this week with a lot of good companies, but it's really next week and the week after that, really getting into May, when we're going to see some major companies report some major earnings, okay? So I think this is a very key element to keep in the back of your mind. Now, the only thing that I'm really worried about right now with the market, I am worried about May 5th when the student loans payments kick back in, how the market will react to that, okay? Now, obviously, some stocks will do well off that. SoFi. But I am curious to see. I think it's going to be more of a long-term burn where something comes out later on with data about how this is affecting certain groups of people. But and obviously the China, we still don't have a deal with China. That's the huge dragon lingering over the market right now. But getting back to Big Bear, like I said, I've talked so much about Big Bear. Big Bear needs more deals. I'm hoping they can get some more deals. There's still this lawsuit situation with Big Bear. This whole chaotic thing that's going on. It's still being pushed 100%. It's all the articles, everything. And it's funny because, I look at one side of that and I go I don't think there's a lot of investors that really care about that right now because they're looking at Big Bear in a different light. People that have been obsessing over Big Bear and watching what's been happening with Big Bear with these government contracts that it's been getting. And it is curious to if they're going to really hit this next quarterly. Big Bear is not known for hitting quarterlies. They're just known for, 2024, they did good. It was a good year for them in the sense that they grew steadily, but, they didn't hit quarterlies. They missed every one of them, but they grew. Now this year, since since November, that first huge government contract defense deal, then we've had an inflow of other ones. This should be a good quarterly. I don't know if it's gonna be face melting. That's why I've been very cautious of saying this next quarterly may not be insane, but it should be better and it should be good. It should be better than anything they had that they produced in 2024. It should at this point, okay? But obviously this situation with this lawsuit, this financial, misplaced funds, lying, whatever, all the stuff that these articles are writing. Big Bear's already come out and say, we're taking care of this, blah 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 blah. It's bad. In a sense of it's just bad press. And Big Bear does not need bad press right now. I have no doubt that, I'm aware of the issues with Big Bear. They're in debt. They need more money. And, they need it fast, okay? The stock needs to move. It needs to move up. It needs to get away from this low number, okay? No doubt about it. If this situation did not happen with these financials, this problem that has occurred here in these articles, I fully believe that Big Bear would be sitting around $3.50, $4, 100%, just because of the hype around it. Still, investors are still very much making money off Big Bear. They're still pushing it. They're still interested in it. Don't get it wrong. People are still very interested in Big Bear, 100%. And the only thing we can do right now is the hardest thing. Wait and see what's going to happen. Are they going to hit these quarterlies? When is this situation going to be wrapped up and we're going to get away from it? I don't know. What we're going to see here. We're all going to find out together. And then you have SoFi. I think SoFi has the potential to be the most shocking Q1 of all the quarterlies that come out here. I really do. I think that this will be I don't know how this would not hit. I don't know how this quarterly would not hit from all the loan deals that we have seen happen, $1 billion huge loan deals, other little implanted deals in there since the last quarterly. That was amazing. In Palantir, SoFi still growing here. I find it hard to believe that SoFi is not going to hit this $1 billion quarterly. And like I said, Palantir looking for the first $1 billion quarterly. SoFi looking for its first $1 billion quarterly. In revenue, I think I think they're going to do it 100%. I just don't know how they wouldn't at this point with what we've seen. So either way, it's going to be a good quarterly for SoFi, and SoFi here is moving on the hopes and expectations of what this quarterly is going to bring 100%. SoFi is it's a creature of habit with what it does with quarterlies. It runs up to quarterly, then it'll come out with a good quarterly, we'll have a nice little pop, and then over time it'll find a new low. So I am curious to see what the new high will be with SoFi here. We've already seen almost $18 with SoFi. Can we get 18, 19, 20 out of it with this run, depending on how big these quarterlies are? Possibly, maybe. $1 billion quarterly sounds real nice. Investors like that. So the long term, I think SoFi has so much opportunity for investors. I think you're talking about dividends. I think you're talking about somewhere down the line, obviously, there could be talks of stock splits. I don't want to plural that. I want to stock split. We'll start with one. But and obviously, I'm talking way into the future here. But if you're able to compound a position in SoFi, buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high, and continue rinse and repeat that process. Like I said, SoFi is a creature of habit when it comes to stock flow on its chart. It's so easy to find positions in this right now. Now, obviously, it's been running with the market here these past 3 days, but still, allowing people to make some hefty positions in it right now. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where SoFi lands here. Tuesday, quarterlies are coming out, so SoFi will be pretty much one of the first stocks here that I have been watching like a hawk to see what they produce here with quarterly. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be real good. Obviously, I've been drinking the juice on SoFi, and SoFi is looking for $13. I am curious to see what the market brings tomorrow. If SoFi falls back down into this low $11 range, I will probably snag up a big chunk of it more going into quarterlies and seeing what number we can produce out of quarterlies. But I think this is going to be one of the biggest shocks of this year with quarterlies. I just think they're going to kill it this year. I think they're going to kill it 100%. Friends, I don't want to waste your time anymore. You're busy. You got things to do. I get it. I just want to thank you so much for listening to me yap, and I really do appreciate that. I really do. I really do appreciate that, friends. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.